We can't say the future without AI. I mean, there's no way around it. 50% of workers now believe AI is going to improve their experience. When I come into the meeting room, I need a way to incorporate my AI with what's going on in the meeting. It's almost a bring your own AI type of a concept. Most of what we do in our day-to-day is going to change significantly.
Hear the latest AV trends and predictions in this episode of Crestron's Smarter Spaces podcast on your preferred podcast platform.
The SCN Top 50 is out. It is the annual survey of the biggest integrators now in the world. Let's give everybody the top five a little bit of shout out. AVI SPL, Diversified, Ricoh at 615 million, AVI Systems at 612, EOS IT Solutions at 475 million.
Well, it's like the list of legends there. I think it says a lot.
I'll tell you who I remember. Anopsis, Pleotut. What's his name? He was the greatest of all.
Preventive maintenance of your systems sure gets deeper with Microsoft and SCN's Top 50 and what it says about the AV industry. All that and more next on AV Week. This is AV Week, episode 694, recorded Friday, December 6th, 2024. Hybrid is here to stay. This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of the biggest audio-visual news and information we have gathered. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With us to discuss the news and information we have gathered, first and foremost, Erica Carroll from Charbat. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Tim.
Good to see you. Also with us is Derek Jonkas. Derek is from Extron. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, Tim. Glad to be here again.
And last but not least, a young lady that I've known for a little bit. Got to see her at the HETMA golf event, but never had her on the show. So her name is Kamisha Jones. She is from Florida International University. Welcome, ma'am.
Hello, hello.
And we're going to talk about HETMA here at the end of the show, so we'll check that out. First story comes to us from our fine friends at SCN and AV Network. The SCN Top 50 is out. It is the annual survey of the biggest integrators now in the world. Now, really a couple of things really quickly, some caveats. One, this is a self-reported survey, meaning your favorite integrator may not be on this list. That does not mean that they don't belong on the list. It means they don't report. So that's number one. Number two is where I remind you that AVNation is owned by CTI. CTI is not on this list because they don't report. So those two things, and we can move ahead. As the leading AV integrators showed a mix of growth in 2024. Some companies posted significant gains. Others had some challenges. Industry giant AVI SPL maintained its top position. Newcomer EOS IT Solution and IES Communications, they made some significant jumps to get into the top 10. A couple notable shifts. Yorktel had a really crazy jump up to 170 million. This actually only made them move a single position up. We'll talk about the positions here in a second. American Sound made a strong first-time appearance in the top 25. Now, this is, again, like I said, a voluntary survey. It collects data directly from participating companies, continues to serve as a crucial benchmark for the pro AV industry's health and competitive landscape. Let's give everybody the top five a little bit of shout out. AVI SPL came in at 1.6 billion. Diversified has fell off the last couple of years. They were a $1 billion company. Now they're at 968. Still nothing to complain about. Ricoh at 615 million. AVI Systems at 612 million. And then again, we mentioned EOS IT Solutions at 475 million. The list also highlights the delta between the top at 1.6 billion and number 50, DMS at 13.9 million. Now that delta has shrank just a little bit. Last year's top 50 hovered around 10 million at the bottom level. Erica, I'm going to start with you on this. What is the report like this, and what is the reported revenue? What does that tell us about the health of the AV industry?
Well, I think that this report is positive. Coming from traditionally in the manufacturing side, and dealing with the struggles that manufacturers have experienced over the last 4 years, I think this is positive for them. Despite all of our challenges with backlogged items and components and, finally catching up. It's good to see that dealers are still and integrators are still making headway, installing all those products and servicing all their customers.
All right, Derek, same kind of question is, what does this say about the industry?
Well, it's like the list of legends there. I think it says a lot. I too noted the disparity, year over year. If you do a little bit of analysis, I think you'll find some very interesting trends, not just from last year. I wonder what the total number of projects these companies are doing, and if the mix of projects have changed over the years, as we've come in and out of a pandemic, how has that impacted? We've had a lot of consolidation in the industry. And I think lastly, I think it's opened up a lot of opportunities for maybe some smaller and more niche or regional players to have a nice way to enter the marketplace and have space for them to be able to offer the kinds of services that really resonate with their customers. So, I think in some ways it looks pretty healthy, but I just wonder how that business mix has changed for all the participants.
So what is the different types of projects that these folks are doing, whether that's control rooms or
Yeah, I kind of wonder about that. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, definitely trying to figure out what projects that are doing that makes them constantly want to work with these integrated companies. Also, what type of relationships that they have with their customers to want to continue this. Is it, do they trust? Because obviously, AVI, SPL, they're big, but also too, they have really good relationships that they're building across the AV industry as well. So I definitely want to, and also to the smaller integrative systems, integrated companies as well too. What type of projects are they being exposed to as well to make the list or things like that? So yeah. That's definitely a brainstormer there.
Kamisha, I've got a quick follow-up question. You are our lone customer on this call here. This is a philosophical question. There is no wrong answer here. Do lists like this matter? And the reason I think they matter because as somebody who covers the industry and looks at the industry, it's 100% matters to me. It's one of my favorite issues that the SCN does. Mark Pescatori and the team does a great job of doing this. As somebody who is responsible for procuring AV on your campus, does somebody being on this list or not on this list, does that matter to you when you are going through proposals?
Not really. It goes back to relationships, going back to that. Relationships are very important when we're picking those integrative systems or integrative partners that we want to work with for our universities. And if you do have that good rapport with us, especially not only it goes beyond the equipment, it goes beyond the integration. It goes with the relationships to say, hey, how is the system working out for you? Is there anything that we can do for you? Is that compatible? Or even checking up to say, hey, I've noticed we're getting ready to launch something new that I'd be great for your university. Can we demo it or something like that? So I think, from an end user and also for a person that works with it, I think relationships are more important than a list, because it goes back to if this person is on the list, what makes them create the list? Because as you said, they report. So. Yeah. It might be an integrative company that's way bigger than AVI, SPL, not sure, that holds probably more bigger revenue than they do, but they don't report. So it's like, okay, they're not on the list, but it could be just as compatible or just as great. So I think for me, it's just all about relationships.
Kamisha May just pulled a thread there that I wasn't prepared to go down, but So here, this is Tim's opinion, right?
Okay.
There are IT companies that do AV, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There are significant IT companies that are considerably bigger than AVI SPL. Mm-hmm. So Kamisha makes a very good point that there are some folks out there that are doing AV, right? Now we can disagree about, well, they're not a real AV company. They're doing AV, right? And they're doing AV, and they may very well want to put people on this list next year. I don't know.
I want to point out one thing, though. You mentioned it is about relationships. It's also about trust. And on that trust note, if a company has like a core value that is based on integrity or truth or clarity into the company. Exposing your books into something like this just lends to your core values, and it's another speaking point, as a business, as you hold your core values true.
All right. Next story comes to us actually from our website, and our buddy Robert Heron writes about preventative maintenance. It is not the most glamorous topic in the world. I will 100% admit this. But as somebody who used to live and breathe inside the halls of higher education and technology manager land, it was important. Robert writes about heat management. From his point of view, it is the primary concern, especially for devices. He recommends pretty much making sure you have adequate ventilation, specialized cooling solutions for those enclosed spaces. His article also emphasizes the importance of proper dust management, which was not something I ever considered as a technology manager, which anybody who worked with me can attest to, particularly for devices with cooling fans, delicate screens, and stuff like that. He also says don't make the mistake of using too harsh of cleaning solution when you are cleaning that stuff, because you could damage that equipment. Among the key recommendations are regular firmware updates to address performance issues and strategic management of control systems. Robert also suggests keeping spare parts on hand for critical components like projector lamps, if you're still using lamps that have consumables, and also avoid unexpected disruptions during important viewing events. Mr. Jonkos, we'll start with you on this. What are best practices for PMing your systems?
Well, I don't know. I think it starts from when you're actually designing the systems right up from the front. You may not be able to prevent all the dust bunnies that could accumulate, but I'm sure you could avoid some of the problems that I know that Kamisha and I'm sure Erica have experienced in their careers, where maybe you weren't as proactive in the beginning or didn't have the time in order to accommodate all the potential use cases for a system. And so system health I think is very important, because I'm sure the systems that you're deploying, Kamisha, I'm just going to guess, have to be deployed just more than one day. They have to be deployed for years, and you have to kind of live with those decisions. So I'm sure for you, being as proactive as you can be and getting the support and also having the relationships that you were mentioning play a big factor in the kinds of systems that, either you want to self-deploy, or also which are the ones that are going to require the most maintenance after the fact. So from an Extron perspective, that's a big deal for us. That's part of why we try to educate as many of our customers as we can about the kind of the proper use and implementation, and also long-term life cycle planning of those devices that we offer, and how they will and how they may not interoperate over time with other devices that may be part of those systems. So that's a great topic. It was a great article, actually, and I think it's very germane, not just to residential or home theaters or commercial AV. It's probably is relevant to a whole bunch of other areas in the technology business as well.
Yeah. Kamisha, from your experience, what is the best time of year to do PMing?
Usually when the students are not, so any holiday breaks, summers are good. Right now we are actually getting ready to wind down the semester now, so we are actually getting ready to do our maintenance, because we are having a problem with our heating system, because the air conditioner went out in our actually in the space where we hold our rack, and it's very hot in there, so we're trying to get the AC back on it, because as anybody knows, in this hot in the rack room, your system is bound to either blow up or just malfunctions completely. So those times when we do have downtime, when we don't have a lot of students in the area, holidays, summers especially, we definitely look at those. And even throughout the year, we make sure we do our at least monthly to 2 months checkup on our systems, because sometimes we do have things that do fail throughout the semester, so we want to make sure that that's priority on our list when we are on our downtime. So yeah.
So back up for a second, because you're the first person I've heard say that you do it monthly or every other month. That is actually pretty proactive.
Yes, because we use it so much, and our main focus is our students' experience when it comes to audiovisual in our classrooms and our event spaces. So we just renovated our one of our ballrooms, so it's been a lot of stuff been offline, but we our much older equipment is getting to its wit ends, and we have to get ready to upgrade our other rooms. So we are, like I said, our main focus is making sure that we have that exceptional experience for our students through audio visual. So we have to make sure that our equipment is up to date, or our equipment is functional. So yes, we do our monthly to at least, especially if we're not busy that much, we definitely do those maintenance checks constantly, because, gotta make sure we're good, in all the realms.
All right, Erica, wrap up here. What is I guess the best advice that you've found in talking with, whether it's higher education or corporate, in getting in there and getting those systems touched and make sure that they're still functioning?
I think that the best thing you can do is actually create a maintenance schedule. And it's certainly an opportunity for integrators as well to sort of build that into a package, especially depending on the application. If you know that you're installing into bars or restaurants where there's maybe a lot of oils in the air, or even some places smoke in the air, that could definitely impact the equipment. But now that I'm in Florida, I'm also thinking about the humidity and the salt in the air. So that means that the things can rust, and you could end up with some other complications. So definitely application dependent, but having a regular maintenance schedule is something that I would absolutely advise.
I definitely agree with the Florida. We are in Florida as well, in Miami, and we're right off the bay. And our outside equipment, such as our speakers, they definitely rust. Once again, we have to do those maintenance checks. And also hurricanes definitely hit us very hard in Miami. So we definitely have to make sure that stuff is definitely routine and check up and things like that. Because like I said, you're dealing with Mother Nature, and sometimes Mother Nature and technology don't mix.
No, absolutely not. So I have a question here, and forgive my ignorance. I think I could get to a solution here. But Kamisha, since you are in Florida, what is the best solution for getting rid of humidity? I mean, because that is going to be a major killer for electronics.
It's not really easy. You can't really control humidity when it comes from Mother Nature, but you can maintain it, such as making sure that fans are out there, depending on where that humidity is. If we're speaking of outside, because we do have a couple of like I said, speakers and things like that outside, it's really much you can't really do. But just making sure that, your equipment is not rusting in the moment or things like that. But it's not really no solution for real.
Last story comes to us from our friends at AV Magazine. Shure announced this week its strategic partnership with Microsoft's device ecosystem platform, also known as MDEP, marking a significant expansion in the video conferencing space for Shure. The platform will integrate with Shure's existing products, including their IntelliMix Room software. According to Shure's CTO, Sam Sabat, this collaboration will enable the company to, quote-unquote, leverage MDEP's enhanced security features and device management capabilities, while also maintaining their reputation for superior audio quality in professional environments. The partnership reflects the growing demand for secure enterprise-grade communication solutions in today's hybrid workplace. Kamisha, I want to start with you. Florida International uses Zoom. Zoom has a version of Microsoft's MDEP program. So just generically, how important are programs like this, whether it's Zoom or it's Microsoft, for these software platforms, these communication platforms, to have development programs for the ancillary devices that get audio and video into their respective platforms?
I think it's very important because once we got off COVID, the hybrid world did not go away. It actually enhanced more. So having these features, especially with Shure and their microphones and the quality of their sound, it's incredible, because like I said, Zoom isn't that stuff isn't going, the hybrid environment isn't going anywhere. So having that, and also too having all of that into one mix, because we are dealing with professors and things like that. And the main thing is, they can't hear what's happening in those rooms, we get a call. It's like, hey, we can't hear, or the quality of that sucks. So, once again, having that device and things like that in our spaces is really beneficial. It really helps us, and it really enhances the student experience, even when you're in hybrid mode, or if you can't take a class on campus, that hybrid option is there. The student is well enough to have class hybrid, and the quality of the sound and video is immaculate. So, it's definitely great to have.
Erica, same kind of question is how important are these development platforms for their respective communication softwares?
I think it's incredibly important. Again, coming from the device side, there's like no standard, and everybody has their own proprietary everything. No offense, Derek. But being able to say that everything on this list all works well together within this system, and like Kamisha said, there's, hybrid is not going away, that you absolutely need all of these things to work together seamlessly. I think it's incredibly important, and I think it's good that Microsoft and Zoom both have one. Everybody's going to choose their own flavor, but being able to build a system around a particular platform, I think, is incredibly important moving forward, because, hybrid is the future.
Hybrid is now the future. Hybrid is not going away, and hybrid is the future. All right. Jonkas, a little bit different question here. So Microsoft and Zoom both have development platforms for devices for other people. Who now owns the upkeep, the security of those devices? Is it Zoom? Is it Microsoft? Is it the integrator? Is it the person who purchased it and had it put into their space? Who owns that?
Well, I think the intent of Microsoft and also Zoom is to have for those organizations to have control over the whole customer experience, not just the support side, but operationally. I think it also allows them to take devices that aren't based on Windows, that are based on Android, and give them a sense of legitimacy so that they're being maintained at a certain level. So I think it offers manufacturers an opportunity to be able to manufacture and deploy to different platforms a little more easily. I think from an end user or even someone who's working in industry, an integrator, for example, it gives them the opportunity to be able to be consistent, because how these devices might be able to be managed. So I see something else, though, which maybe to Erica's good point a few moments ago. The one thing about our industry still, no matter how many things you add to these platforms, though, I think you're still going to run into some interoperability issues. And the reason why is, for the diverse types of systems, like we started talking about the SEN list and, my curiosity about what the mix of projects might be. There's still, I see we're far away from having all the categories of AV devices being supported by a common platform. I think that would be a great item to have. But from, I think, where we sit, we're looking forward to the days where some of that is a little bit easier. And I don't know, maybe Microsoft, maybe Zoom, maybe someone else has the horsepower to sort of bring that to bear. But that would be nice, because then it wouldn't just be your simple rooms or the hybrid room over here on one side of campus or on or one side of the office that has to work this way or be managed this way, or you only can have certain devices be part of that maintenance mix. Hopefully we get to a point where that becomes a little more homogeneous, or at least it makes it easier for someone who has to live with it, like Kamisha, to have a little better experience there. And I think that's where Microsoft is coming from. I know for sure that's where Zoom's coming from.
So let me ask generically, and this is anybody can answer this, or all y'all can just say, I don't know. It feels like we've moved a little bit to that direction, though, Derek, because 20 years ago, right, when I was still, a tech manager, there were so many silos, right? This company had this XYZ protocol, and you could only connect with their devices. And whether that is because of Dante, because of AES, because of whatever, we're kind of moving that direction. I agree with you. We're not 100% there, yeah. But doesn't it feel like we're getting there, like we're on the right track?
For me, I would say there's probably less silos, but there's definitely more options, like and more workflows. Like Kamisha was just mentioning, hey, pandemic happened, and now I have to do hybrid and I have to be in person. I have to probably do lecture capture as well. I have 3 or 4 different modalities, and that doesn't even get into your room types. Am I doing direct presentation type learning, or am I doing things like active learning? Where it's a little asymmetrical or at least different. So for as much as the silos have probably have changed up, I bet you there's more layers and options now than we've ever had. My guess. But
All right. That'll be a good place to stop. Thank you all so much. Erica Carroll from Charbet. Thank you, ma'am. How do people connect with you or Charbet?
You can find me on any of the socials at the Erica Carroll or at charbet.com, CHARPETT. Or you can find me at the Women AV podcast on AVNation.tv.
That's also accurate. She does a fantastic job. Mr. Jonkus, thank you, sir. How do people connect with you or Extron?
connect with Extron at extron.com, or you can find us on LinkedIn, or you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
All right. Kamisha, thank you, ma'am. Great to have you. How do people connect with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn at Kamisha Jones. I'm pretty active there.
All right. And you are also heavily involved in HETMA, so how do people connect with HETMA?
Yes, I am. I'm the DEI chair for HETMA, so that's been a very great organization, a very great platform for us AV geeks in higher ed. So I'm very grateful to being a part of that.
All right, very good. For me, for Tim Albright, don't follow me on the socials because I will complain about the Chicago Bears, because I have reason to complain about the Chicago Bears. If you want to read anything, I've started doing that. If you want to read anything that I have to say about things that aren't AV, you can follow me on LinkedIn. I've been posting there about once a week, so you can check that out. But go by the website, if you would, please, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv. You will find this program and a host of others, including Erica's Women in AV. Also, we have a brand new State of Control that was posted today. It looks at the APIs, quite frankly, and how they work in the AV industry. For those of you watching on YouTube and you're tired of looking at me and you just want to listen to my voice, go to get AVWeek podcast wherever you get your podcast. If you're listening and you want to see what our fine guests look like, you can go over to YouTube. So whichever way you want to head, we appreciate you checking that out. But again, go by the website, avnation.tv. It's avnation.tv. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. That is all the time we have for AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AV Nation.
This is AV Nation.
Hi, this is Jennifer Goodyear
And Erica Carroll
from the Women in AV podcast, where we are encouraged by the incredible stories of women in AV.
Listen in on fun, empowering conversations as we chat with inspiring women, breaking barriers and creating their own path in the industry.
Check out Women in AV on avnation.tv or wherever you get your podcasts.